Booch, I tell you to look out, but you already know fireworks are flying, Captain Charisma's back, and so is Carlito, and the bitten apple spat in everybody's face. It's so good to be back here on the Male Soap Opera Moment. So much to get to with the one, the only, the wrestling encyclopedia, Vincent Kennedy Bucci.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am back here on the Male Soap Opera Moment, and as you can see, I have not one but two championship belts in my possession because, ladies and gentlemen, on our Twitch, on my Twitch account, Boochcast, twitch.tv/the Boochcast, we brought back for the new year our prediction competition, and the Booch was victorious in his prediction competition. But not only that, he has once again, in a stunning 4-1 victory, retained the prediction title, which means I am no longer Le Champion. I am instead the King in Gold, baby.
And humble, too. That's the thing I treasure most about you, Vincent Kennedy Bucci III.
Absolutely.
We have a lot to talk about. We have an Elimination Chamber happening this coming weekend, but I don't want to get to that quite yet. We have a lot to discuss as it pertains to Royal Rumble 34. Man, what an awesome pay-per-view. Booch, dare I say, this is probably my favorite Royal Rumble that I can remember. It was awesome for me. And granted, dad life, I forget a lot. And, the Yingling probably doesn't help the memory train. But to not steal from the show that was 34, let's get to it, baby. Let's talk about this victory of yours, match by match.
Yes.
Which one do you want to start with, champ? Your call.
I'm looking at the list here, which is interesting because usually, as most people know, I am not a big fan of, the pre-shows, but in this particular case, a lot of the matches we predict, sometimes they end up on the pre-show and we don't even realize it. So, of course, we had the women's tag title match, which I was glad made the pre-show. So that means when the Twitch thing came on, I didn't have to worry about it, was the women's tag team title match. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair. And it was a tag match. It did exactly what it needed to do. And this was the moment where we tied. And this was sadly the only point for the wins. I'm not trying to rub salt on the wound, just stating facts. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, even though that is happening.
You people wonder why I drink. You wonder why I drink. He does it to me.
I know. I'm not doing it intentionally. I swear to God. But anyway, we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeat the Empress of Tomorrow and the False Flair and win back the tag team titles like we knew they would and like you really wanted them to.
Yeah. And it was so encouraging. For once, everything was right in the WWE universe. So yeah. I'm grateful that I got that 1 point. That had me feeling good, Booch. I'm not going to lie. I was feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. Because that's the thing. When you get that first point out of the gate, that brings the confidence up. So that's always the best thing to have. It's like in comedy when I tell that first joke, if it gets a laugh, it makes me feel better about the rest of the set going forward. Because that means, all right, I got him with this one. The rest he's about to destroy.
Nice. So well, what happens to you when they don't laugh on the first joke? How do you feel?
It's a little awkward, but that just means I got an uphill battle. That's all that means. I see how it goes. Sometimes I start here and able to get it back up here, and other times it's just destroying.
That's tough, man. But it takes a lot to get on stage in front of people. It probably took a lot for Goldberg's old ass to get back in the ring again with Drew McIntyre. I took some notes during this match. I actually watched it twice, Booch, because I wanted to really do it justice. I loved the super aggressive start by Goldberg, getting those spears in. The ribs were hurt. McIntyre was leaning and we're all wondering before the match even starts, is this going to happen? Is Goldberg going to beat him? And is it going to be a squash? Surely it was not a squash. Goldberg didn't lose. He kicked out of the Claymore, which I thought was kind of a big deal. And I did some digging, and apparently the only other professional wrestler to do that is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. And it's also a big deal because Drew kicked out of the jackhammer.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Which, other than Brock Lesnar, at least in WWE, nobody else has done that. So that was another those were big moniker moments. Like, and that's what I love about it when the very few people kick out of a finish, because then it makes you think for a second, this is over, which is what a finisher is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think when that move is hit, that guy's winning. And when they kick out, that's when you go, holy shit. So I will say on this one, you got it half right. Because the match did go under 3 minutes. It was 2 minutes and 32 seconds. The only difference is McIntyre retained the championship. So but I'm saying, like, and nobody knew what the hell was going to happen. We were on the edge of our seats for that first match. I was there decked out in the Goldberg t-shirt just to piss Desmond off because that was the goal. And when he found out that's why I had this shirt, he got even more pissed off, which was funny. It's basically just me sitting there wondering, like, okay, I want the point, but I kind of want to see Goldberg win because I want to have the meltdown on film. I told him before the show, like, if you punch a hole in the wall, you're paying for it. So he turned to me and said, well, can I at least punch Zach? I'm like, yeah, I don't have to pay for him. Go ahead. So
he's not on your insurance plan.
No, he's not. So I told him, he's like, can I at least punch Zach? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So, but thankfully Drew McIntyre got the win, which is what I knew was going to happen because, like I said, the whole purpose of Goldberg being in this match was to up Drew's resume. Because here's another milestone. Other than Drew McIntyre, only one other person in the history of wrestling has beaten both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. Do you know who that person is?
All right, multiple choice me.
Okay. A, Triple H. B, John Cena. C, Kevin Nash. D, The Undertaker.
I want to say Taker.
Correct. It was The Undertaker. They are the only Undertaker and Drew McIntyre are the only two people to ever beat both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. Some have beaten one or the other. Some have beaten neither of them. Like Triple H is actually, it's Triple H. Like, he got close to that. We had Cena. He's beaten Lesnar. Kevin Nash beat Goldberg. Triple H beat Goldberg. But Taker beat Brock and Goldberg. So they got that moniker right there. So it's a big win for McIntyre.
That's a big win, and it's a nice kind of like respite and recuperation period from what we've seen as of late. Yeah. They've really humanized the Scottish Psychopath, so it's good to see him get legend status against a legend.
Yeah, because they shook hands after the match. Like that's solidifying Drew as, you're one of us now.
Yep. And it shows a level of respect.
Yeah. Like that's literally what that match was designed for. To give Drew McIntyre that push of, there's no doubt now that you are the guy. Like it's to take a quote from NXT, that's undisputed now. Like, Drew McIntyre is the guy in WWE right now. Roman is the only other guy, but Drew, he's on the cusp of that.
I wanted to put an asterisk in that and say, for now.
Okay.
It's the guy for now, because Booch, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a man once upon a time that lasted 58 plus minutes in the Royal Rumble. Just a third person in history to run the table from the number one spot. And he also happens to be the gentleman that you selected and predicted to win the men's Royal Rumble match.
Yes. That was ultimately the part that like solidified the win for me. Like, there was no doubt that I was getting it at that point. I will say that we did have a few moments where it was like no points or something like that, but that was it for me. And like I said, I knew he was winning when he cut the promo on Monday night. Like that's like if you want an insight into how I'm gonna give a little a little secret here. I'm gonna give a little tidbit on this episode.
Okay,
If you
bring
want an
it.
insight into how I think about this stuff, I'm listening to Edge's promo. He's talking about how he's officially entering the Royal Rumble and he wants to get back in the ring. He wants to be champion, blah, blah, blah. But there was one line that he said where I knew. He said, I need to go to WrestleMania to get back the title that I never
Never
lost.
lost. Yep.
Soon as he said those words, the encyclopedia, the prediction, the analyzing brain clicked in, and I was like, that's the winner. Because why else would you bring that up?
But
Other
don't
than to tell the story later.
but don't act, Booch. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Okay.
Don't act like you didn't think Randy Orton was going to eliminate him at the very end.
Oh yeah, totally. There was that moment.
Mm-hmm.
There was that moment because Randy Orton also could have made history at the Rumble because he would be the second man to win the Rumble 3 times. Now, do you know who the first man to do it was?
Multiple choice me.
Multiple choice you? Okay. All right. A, Hulk Hogan.
I was going to guess him.
B, The Ultimate Warrior. C, Stone Cold Steve Austin. D, Shawn Michaels.
I'm going to go with... it's either between Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna guess Stone Cold.
Correct. You got it. And that was a trick because the Ultimate Warrior never won the Royal Rumble. So that was a trick.
I knew B was a little too fast. I knew B was
I threw that in there, but Hogan won it twice and Michaels won it twice. So those guys have won the Rumble in the past. But yeah, Austin won it 3 times. It was 97, 98, and 2001.
Nice.
Were the 3 years that he won. And so if Randy Orton had gotten it, it would have been a third because he did 2009 and 2017. So he had one more. So either one of them could have made history. And we were sitting there going, no. And then Edge reversed it. And it was like, oh shit. Yeah. And then of course, like you said, Carlito was there, which I thought was great. You know,
I wanted to talk to you about that. As a matter of fact,
Go ahead.
You know, he slid in with that 8 spot, with the apple in hand. I believe it's been 10 years since he's been in WWE.
Just about.
You know, you have a lot of experience with him with your tenure with UCW.
Yes.
Do you like this move for him, and how do you see him fitting into any title picture in WWE right now?
Well, obviously, and at UCW, we were excited to be in days in the Rumble. We've been hearing rumors that he might be signing a deal similar to what MVP signed. We, on the one hand, we're happy for him. And, you know, if this is an opportunity for him to get another run, be on TV and, you know, make some good money, by all means, go get it. You know, obviously, on the one hand, it is tough because he is the world champion of UCW, like the Universal Heavyweight Champion. Like, he's our top champion. So if he goes, unless there's a way we can book him for a one-nighter to drop the belt, we have to strip him of the title and get a whole new champion. And then we have to figure out who that would be. So that would be our dilemma on our end at UCW. But as far as, like, I was happy for him. Like, I've gotten a chance to really, especially over the last couple shows, I really got to know Carlito. Like, I told the story. We did a 2-hour. The last one of the shows we did, we were in South Carolina. We drove for 2 hours from South Carolina back to Atlanta, and literally sat in a car and we just laughed and joked, told stories. Like, we were having fun. Like Carlito's a lot nicer of a guy than people think he is. He's just, you know, he's not a jerk. He's just, you know, not He just doesn't. He's not easy to socialize.
Well, the bottom line is, Booch, as long as you're cool, he's not going to spit the apple in your face.
Exactly. And thankfully, it's never happened to me. At least they haven't booked that yet. Who knows? Maybe one day, if Carlito ever comes back, they might do a spot where he gets pissed off before the match and he goes to spit the apple and accidentally I get hit with it, and then I'm like, running around the ring like I'm blind. I look.
So do you see, any particular title hunt that he could pursue legitimately and that's believable at this point?
I have a weird feeling they'll probably put him in a mid card title slot, but as far as I'm concerned, that man should be WWE champion, hands down. That they're insane if they don't do that, because first of all, he knows how to work, which is a key thing that a lot of the other guys are missing. He doesn't do the circus crap. He actually knows how to work in a match in the ring. And we were doing a pay-per-view review on the Boochcast. I went back and watched Vengeance 2005. I saw his match with Shelton Benjamin. If you see the way his body looked in 2005 compared to the shredded beast he looks now,
he is in the best shape of his life.
And he was like that in UCW. Like when he first came to UCW, when we did the show in Cobb County 3 years ago, I was like, what? I'm like, that's Carlito? Like, he's shredded. That dude's got the look. Like, they say Vince likes the guys with the bodies. Carlito's got it. Like, This dude can still go. He can still work. It's not like he's missing anything. I would put the title on him. I'd make him a top champion and then find the guy you want to push next and put the belt on him. Like, that's one of those guys that you have these guys back. They're main event level.
Speaking of having people back, Booch, last year we saw the return of the Rated R superstar Edge. This year, the return of Captain Charisma, Christian. What a great re-debut, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming back to WWE. And he looks good, man. And I loved the teamwork, eliminating the original bro, your favorite, Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
It was just really good to see Edge and Christian because they still totally reek of awesomeness. And when they work together, anything's possible with these two, which kind of makes me wonder, since we don't know who Edge is going to select. He's made that clear. He's going to wait till after Chamber to make that decision. Is there room in your mind for a little collaboration between the Rated R superstar and Captain Charisma?
Absolutely. From what I've been hearing, Christian is actually medically cleared and could make a return to the ring, like legitimately, because they were worried about his concussions from a while back. As long as they don't do anything stupid with him, he can work. He's still fine. I don't think Christian needs to be doing. There doesn't need to be any tables, ladders, or chairs in Christian's future at this point.
My.
They don't. Yeah, exactly. He don't need it. Edge don't need it. They've made that point. Like, that's why I love the promo Edge cut on the Miz. He's like, you're more concerned with being awesome. I'm not. Did that 20 years ago. Like, leave the tables, ladders, and chairs in 20 years ago and find a better way to, and work smarter so they can do more. But I would love to see if Edge, for whatever reason, does not walk out of WrestleMania with either the WWE title, the Universal title, or the NXT title, I would love to see him and Christian get another tag title run. I would love to see them back together again. I think that they can do it. I think it's great it would be great for the tag team division to have a veteran there. To me, it would be like a couple years ago when the Dudley Boys came back briefly. Although granted, the Dudleys weren't treated as well. And then of course they had the Hardys. They came back. They had a good run with the belts, and that helped the division. So I think it'd be great to have Edge and Christian on this go around. So that's a scenario you can do down the road, provided that Edge doesn't walk out with a title. If Edge is a world champion, then Christian should be watching Edge's back until he drops that title and then proceed with the reeking of awesomeness.
I love that scenario. That would be a great timeline. Hopefully somebody in the creative room is listening and, we plant a bug in that ear, because I would love to watch that storyline play out. You know what else I loved about the Rumble match itself, since we're talking about the return of Christian to the Rumble match, is Cesaro. Booch, I love this. We got to see a little bit of the Edge, come back. but the 20-second swing by Cesaro on Daniel Bryan, that was just amazing. And it makes me, so nauseous every time I watch it, but I always love it. And then Sheamus coming into the ring with the Bodhrán beats, that was amazing. Any of your particular moments in the men's Royal Rumble match you want to talk about before we get into the women's side of things?
Not really. Other than it was done. It was done well, and the appearances did their job. The special guests did their job. Like, it was a great Royal Rumble. But on the women's side of things, wow.
Let's get to it, baby. You go. You got the fire. Go ahead.
I heard a lot of interesting things about this. Some people liked this Rumble. Some people hated it. I know a lot of people, and I would love to get your take on this. When R-Truth and the 24/7 thing showed up, a lot of fans got mad about that. They felt that it was making the women's Rumble look like a joke. Did you feel that at all?
No. And do you want my further thought into that, or do you want
to go ahead?
Okay. So I love that R-Truth lost a title in a women's match. Like, if anybody has a reason to complain, it's R-Truth, and he's not. He's cashing a check. He loves it. That's his character. That's his gimmick. It was a hilarious sequence. As you remember, Mandy Rose eliminates Foxy, who I think she was in there for what 2 minutes and 5 seconds reign as a 24/7 champion.
Yeah, she was about a minute. Well, she was in there for about a minute 48 to be exact.
But as 24/7 champion, she was 2 minutes and 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Before R-Truth rolls her up and gets the title back on the outside. It just is awesome, because this is what the hardcore title was about back in the Attitude Era, the late Attitude Era, where anything can happen anywhere. And it's like, we live in an age right now where men and women can compete simultaneously. It's like, we're already seeing it in the schools. Our president has made it clear that if you were born a dude, you can compete in women's sports if you identify. So why are the same people who are ticked about this ticked about that? Because I almost feel like,
I mean, not really. I mean, it wasn't really the fact that R-Truth was in there. It was the fact that they felt that putting in, because R-Truth's a comedy guy.
Sure.
They thought that it made the women's Rumble look like a joke, is what they meant. Not necessarily the fact that they were mad that R-Truth was in there. It was the fact that they were doing a comedic spot like that in the Rumble. They thought it took away from, it made the women's Rumble look like a joke, and they're trying to elevate the women's division. I didn't think that, but I heard that from other people.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand where they're coming from. I don't agree with it, and because here's why. Because you had a woman's 24/7 champion for 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, that belt is I guess you could say it's a joke, it's a gimmick, but it's still a belt, and it's part of the show. And so, honestly, hot take here in Wen's World, I've been more entertained by this 24/7 championship run and debacle and show more than I have the Intercontinental Championship as of late.
Well, yeah. I mean, R-Truth took a belt that nobody liked and made it watchable. It's not the belt, it's R-Truth, 100%. But what I like about it is the fact that it can go to anybody. Like, I loved later in the night when God, what's the guy's name? Paul Rosenberg.
I missed that part. I must have dozed off.
The guy, I think it's like Paul Rosenberg, the guy that does the panel. He works for Hot 97. He rolled up R-Truth and got the belt. And I think JBL even said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something about how this was worse than David Arquette. And just JBL just blurted that out. This is ridiculous. And people got a laugh out of that. And then R-Truth later crashed the place where Paul works and got his belt back. And this past Monday on Raw, it's now around the waist of the guy who gave the worst musical performance I have ever seen in the history of wrestling.
Well, you didn't like Booker T?
No, I love Booker T. Bad Bunny can't sing for shit. It's the worst musical performance in WWE history. And I've heard Jillian Hall sing.
Whoa, hey, I gotta listen. What's wrong with Jilly? What's wrong with Jillian? I bought her album. back in the late 90s. Are you laughing at me for buying Jillian Hall's out? Jillian, if you're listening to this, follow the show, and I want you to weigh in on Twitter. Jillian Hall, I'm going to tag you because I respect you, and I think you're a fantastic entertainer.
Okay. I mean, she's great now. Cause she's got like that legendary status, like she's from part of the back in the day, but like in the prime, it was like, oh my God, why?
What do you mean? She was good.
All
right, who's
I'm
a better
saying
singer? Who's a better singer, Jillian Hall or The Rock? We'll get back to that. We'll finish the show with that.
You would have did better if you picked Stone Cold. Because he can't. Stone Cold can't sing for shit. The Rock can sing. The Rock can sing. Stone Cold can't.
But why you got to bring Stone Cold in it? Stone Cold has nothing to do with it. No, Jillian Hall can sing. We'll answer the question at the end of the show.
We'll deal with this later. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I love the Royal Rumble because I love the NXT appearances from Shotzi Blackheart. I love that Toni Storm got an appearance.
Oh, she's amazing, by the way. Yeah.
I was shocked to see Santana Garrett. I did not expect her to get a spot. Rhea Ripley, kind of knew it. Dakota Kai, Ember Moon, and then it comes down to 3 people.
You knew.
1, I did not want to win for any reason. Mm-hmm. 1, the whole world wanted to see win. Mm-hmm. And the other, I jumped for joy when she won.
Listen, there's so much that I love about Bianca Belair, and I'm so glad that she won. And here's the thing. Like, she entered at 3. She was in there for like almost 57 minutes, which by the way is a new women's record.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're going to put a new women's record on this lady, she's going to do big things, and she can back it up. Like, for a minute, Booch, when it was down to Belair and Ripley and Flair, I thought for sure it was going to be Charlotte. I was like, oh, here they go. Like, they're going to.
I was mad.
I knew I could feel it. I was watching it and I thought Booch is so irate right now. But weren't you so glad when they teamed up and eliminated her?
I cried tears of joy. Tears of joy came down my face when they double teamed her. It was the most beautiful thing I'd seen in a Royal Rumble in a long time.
Cheers to that.
Yes, cheers. Massive, massive cheers to that. But I will say that to see it down to Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair was great. I know a lot of people wanted to see Rhea win, and I would have had no objections to that. But Bianca Belair is so amazing, and she deserves this. Like, I don't know which title she's going to fight for, but she earned that Rumble win. You know, she literally is like every bit as good as she says she is. She's the EST of WWE. She is. Like, this woman is like genetically gifted as an athlete and picked up everything fast. And not only that, has great charisma, great psychology. Like, she is somebody you can put a belt on and she will run the company. It's not like, oh, it's like, she's one of those people. She's the type of woman where if she gets the championship, it's not a situation where, oh, we're going to put the belt on her so people stop calling Vince McMahon racist. No, we're putting the belt on her because she's fucking good.
Okay. And here's something that I want to throw into that mix.
Okay.
Is I would love to see Bianca Belair mixed up with the Hurt Business. I think there's a really awesome possibility for a collab here that could make WWE a juggernaut.
Yes, but it only works if she challenges for the Raw Women's title. She has to pick the Raw Women's title. Otherwise, it ain't going to work.
Well, she would have to, and she would if that were the case. I mean, who do you think she's going after?
I honestly don't know. Like, there was a part of me that thought Sasha. I also know she never held the NXT Women's title, and I felt that they called her up. I mean, as much as I like Bianca Belair, I thought she was going to get a run with that belt before they called her up. That shocked me. But I guess with she got called up mostly because of, when COVID happened, a lot of the wrestlers were sitting at home. So a lot of people got called up. And then eventually they looked at some of them and sent some people back, like Austin Theory. They were like, all right, we needed you. You served a purpose, but you're not quite ready yet, so we'll put you back. But I guess they thought Bianca was. So maybe she might go for the NXT title. But the Raw's title is definitely open because we can talk about it here because the belt wasn't defended at the Rumble, but it's supposed to be defended at the Chamber, and we just found out the challenger's pregnant.
What?
You
Fill
didn't
us
watch?
in.
You didn't see Raw?
No, I fell asleep, Booch. I tell you this. Whenever I sit on the
watched
couch and turn on Raw, I fall asleep
Raw.
before Law and Order is over.
Yeah. Lacey Evans was in a tag match against Charlotte Flair, and I think it was Asuka. And I think it was her and Peyton Royce. And of course, Ric Flair's out there, strutting, being Ric Flair, woo. And then all of a sudden, Peyton tags in Lacey, or goes to tag in Lacey, but she jumps off the apron before Charlotte can get her. And she's basically telling her, back up, back up, back up. And Charlotte's in the ring, like, doing the thing, like, get in the ring, you coward, shit like that. And then Lacey gets on the mic and says, I'm pregnant. And then Rick just does that quick turn, like, what? And all of a sudden, they start talking, and then Rick just starts doing the strut and the trademark thing and doing the woo, and Charlotte's just sitting there with this look on her face like she just entered the Twilight Zone, like, basically kind of almost the same look as when Mae Young said she was pregnant, only less shocked. Like that was when there was a tag team match going on. Mark Henry and Mae Young interrupted. The match was ruled a no contest. Everybody just stood there like, they were so shocked they couldn't even fight each other anymore. Like, I can't. But turns out, legit, she's pregnant.
Wow.
They called an audible because they found out Lacey is in fact pregnant. Now, in the kayfabe storyline, they might try to say Rick's the dad.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? That would be perfect.
But obviously, in real life, it's whoever her husband is. Right. That's Ric Flair in real life is not the father of Lacey Evans, but in this storyline,
I mean, listen, you never know. Listen, he's wheeling and dealing, styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, sassy
Maybe.
Southern belle riding. You never know. I'm just saying.
I don't know if Lacey would cheat on her husband though or not, but it is the wrestling business. Anything can happen. So, I mean, just ask Edge and Lita. But anyway, but yeah, they said she's legit pregnant. So now
Bray Wyatt and JoJo in the backstage area.
Oh yeah.
Behind the heavy looking crates that nobody could possibly move because they are so in fact too heavy.
Yeah. So they're doing that storyline. So now we got to find out, because the weird thing is I'm looking at the list and they still got her as the challenger. So I'm like, someone's got to face Asuka. I'm worried it's going to be Charlotte. And then I don't know, maybe Bianca challenges her at Mania. I don't know how that works, but either way, that was some weird things going on. So I don't know what Bianca's going to do or how that's going to work. But then speaking of championships, I will say one of the good matches on the card, we don't have to spend too much time on it, but it was Sasha and Carmella. I thought was really good.
I would love to spend a lot of time on this match, as a matter of fact, because I loved this match. Booch, this is going to sound like a hot take, but this is my favorite match of the night.
Ooh.
I am in love with what WWE is doing with Carmella. I love Reginald at her side. I think he's perfect for her. Great gimmick. This is a great match. There was so much physicality. I mean, there was a point in the match where Carmella bent the boss in half. She tied Sasha Banks to the ropes with her hair. Like, this is the kind of Carmella that we need to see. Like, this is the serious switch from the Queen of Staten Island. Oh, I'm cute. I'm like, want to be Snooki kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which they're trying to transform her from into something different. And I love what they're doing. And then Carmella is willing to put her body on the line. It was towards the later part, and she flew through the ropes after, I think it was right after Reginald was ejected, and she put her body on the line. It was like, you didn't see it in real time because it happened so fast. Yeah, but when they did the replay, it was just like, wow, she really put it out there. That code of silence should have been the end of the match, in my opinion. I felt like Carmella earned that win, but as soon as Banks turn the tables on the code of silence, I knew it was over. One thing I will say about Carmella, because I'm a fan, but I'm not, fanboy, is that she needs a little bit of work on the mic. Like the whole I'm better than you, I'm prettier than you. Like she needs to really refine and talk about like who she is instead of comparing to her opponent. I think that if they work with her a little bit more on that, she'll be better off for it. And I also thought there was an interesting takeaway that the "you suck" is coming out of the speakers there. I don't like that. And here's why I don't like that. Because they're shaping the minds of the universe without the universe's mind being involved in that decision. I don't like the "you sucks" and "this is awesome" is fine because it's promoting the brand, but demeaning, even if she is a heel, she's a good heel. And I think that like the "you suck" should really be eliminated until there's a live audience again. Just my take.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but you also have to understand she is a heel. So the goal is to get the boos. Like that is when you're a heel, that's your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth concern is that audience has to hate me or has to hate you if you're a heel. Like that's how that works. I mean, obviously, it's so when they put in the "you suck," it's not meant to demean her character. It's meant to, hey, you're a heel. They're telling you suck. Now you either gotta ignore it or address it the way a heel would. Like
no, because here's the thing. It's because she was doing so much more than she's been doing since she arrived in WWE. Like I get what you're saying and you're right on principle, but I don't think that applies to her right now. Like I get what you're saying, and she is a heel, and people, oh, you suck, you're a heel, you're a bad person, boo, right? But like after the sequence of events that transpired, that's when it comes, and I'm like, did you guys not see her bend her in half? Did you not see her tie Sasha Banks to the ropes with her hair? Like I know it's a heel thing, but like the universe in reality is watching this match and being like, hell to the yeah, Carmella, she's bringing it, and I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like I get the heel thing. I totally understand that. But I'm like, nobody would really be saying that right now.
They wouldn't.
That's why I think it's nonsense. Like that's why I think that's a stereotype that needs to be broken for her specifically.
Yeah. And when they inevitably allow fans to come back, I think they will. I mean, we should have fans at WrestleMania. We're still trying to wait to hear back from that. From that issue. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but until fans actually come back, this is what we're gonna have to hear. That's the unfortunate side effect.
And there was one other thing, Boost, before I'd love to get your take on this match, but something that I wish, and it was a minor thing, but I wish they had really explored the Meteora left knee injury by Sasha Banks, because they made a big deal about it in the moment, and then magically 20 seconds later she's fine. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your knee doesn't get better that quickly. Like work that into the gimmick. She abandoned it 20 seconds later. And that bothers me. Like that's something that if I'm a fan watching, I'm like, okay, how are they going to unpack this? Like, is Carmella going to attack the left knee? I want to see that, but they didn't book it that way. And that's what bothers me. Like, I feel like if you're going to gimmick that, and if it's a legit thing, like it's kind of hard to plan for. And what do you do in the moment? I don't know. I'm not a pro wrestler, but if it is kayfabe, you need to explore that and use it as part of the story. And they didn't. They abandoned it, and that bothers me about Sasha Banks.
Absolutely. And even if it's not kayfabe, even if it wasn't planned, if it's real, you still got to find a way to make that work.
Improv. Yep. Yes. And
that is a key thing in wrestling. And the problem is, a lot of modern wrestlers do not know how to improv in the ring when something bad happens, and there's nobody to teach them. And I don't know if they would listen, but like that is a key thing you do. And I've learned that just from all the old school pay-per-views I've been watching lately. Like I saw a match with Kurt Hennig and Dean Malenko. This is at Fall Brawl 98, where at one point Kurt Hennig had a knee brace on. And for most people don't remember, Dean Malenko's finisher was the Texas Cloverleaf. So throughout the entire match, he is working the knee of Kurt Hennig and he is limping throughout the match. At one point, Kurt Hennig even did something with his knees, like a knee busting move. And like, as soon as he hit Dean with it, Dean goes down. As soon as Kurt lands on his back, he is grabbing his knee and like writhing in pain before he goes to pin him. So he's emphasizing, yeah, because that's believable. Because like, okay, I had a rush of adrenaline, so I could lift up in that moment. But when that adrenaline went away, damn, my knee is sore. Oh my God. Like, so many people have gone through that. I've had wrestling matches where a guy cracked my thumb and I didn't feel it till I got off the mat. Like, I went back on the mat, I didn't feel a damn thing, pinned the guy. Then as soon as I was done, I was like,
yeah, that adrenaline. Yep.
Once it went away, I was like, Jesus Christ, give me an ice, give me ice.
Did did Jesus bring you ice?
I don't know. A guy with a beard he had a beard. That's close. So
did he have olive skin? Was it olive-ish?
Well, I was in New Jersey, so probably not.
Oh, okay. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? We'll move on to that. We'll talk about that as we talk about the other thing that we were going to close the show with that I already forgot.
Okay. All right. But speaking of last man standing, we had the last man standing match here. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens.
Great match. Go ahead. You first.
I don't know where to start. I already was not excited going into this match because I still maintain I wanted to see the head of the table and Scrap Iron. If they let Adam Pearce be the Scrap Iron, we could have had a good match here. But instead, it was just Roman and Kevin killing each other, jumping off of shit, which is expected in the last man standing match. And then the referee botch to end all referee botches. Wow. So you handcuff Roman. You put the damn thing underneath. Paul Heyman can't get the key open. Another referee comes out and starts counting.
I thought it was brilliant. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I thought it was planned, and the timing was a little off, but I think they did as good as they could with everything that was going on in the moment.
Yeah, but Paul had to tell the guy to stop counting, which is the ultimate breaking of kayfabe.
All right, that's true.
Like,
good point.
First of all, here's the problem: another referee should have never came out. Like, you had the one referee, you pulled him in, and you slammed it. Unless the finish is Roman being counted out, they should have never sent out another referee. Just sit there and have Heyman try to get him out of there. Maybe Kevin is like limping somewhere, like can't get up. Or maybe Kevin tries to take out Paul Heyman or something, but Paul maybe, he picks up Paul kicks him in the nuts. Kevin goes down, kind of rolls down like, my nose. Like, and then he goes back, unhooks him, do something.
All right. So when I say I love the match, I love the action, right? Obviously, there was a botch. But the action in the match was amazing. But Kevin Owens did have some things to say about the botch. All right. So here is Kevin Owens in quotes talking about Roman Reigns. He went a different route and tried to throw me off of high things and hit me with vehicles, different strategies. Towards the end, I turned his own trick on him. He brought handcuffs. I handcuffed him to something, and I thought I had him. I really did have him. Some screw-ups from the referees, and here I am, sitting in my car without the Universal Championship. It goes to show no matter how prepared you are for a match in WWE, you never know how it's going to go. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you really think Kevin Owens is supposed to win that match?
No.
Me either.
That's
why I think this is part of the deal.
That's why I didn't want him to have the match. Why continue to have Kevin lose and lose and lose and lose when you could have taken this match, put it at Mania, and had Kevin Owens win the title? Have that triumphant moment. And that's why, like I said, everybody was going like, why is Adam Pearce getting a world title shot? It's about getting Roman to Mania. The ends justify the means. Here's the thing. With the exception of the I Quit match between The Rock and Mankind and the street fight between Triple H and Cactus Jack, the world title match at the Royal Rumble is not supposed to mean a damn thing. You get through the match and you get to Mania. That's what it is. Very seldom does the Royal Rumble Championship match influence anything. 99 was the only time that ever really happened. I to the back, 90, well, not 9, and 98 was another one because of Shawn injuring his back during the match with Taker. That set off the whole back injury thing. But really, the title match ain't supposed to mean much. It's like, all right, we got to get to the pay-per-view. We got to get to WrestleMania. Like, that's why I thought it was stupid to put this match at the Rumble in the first place. Because now, who does Roman face at WrestleMania? Does he face Edge? Or do we have him and Kevin Owens again?
Listen, you already know what I've been praying for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And this opens up a seam. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I would love to be Rock's press agent, so I can, his public relations person, so I know his schedule. Because here it comes, you know, the day of WrestleMania. Like, I want to know what his schedule looks like. Because if it's open, I'm thinking it's Roman Reigns and Rocky. Young Rock going against 33-year-old, I don't know how old Roman Reigns is, probably in his early 30s. Roman Reigns, you know? By the way, let's digress for a moment. Did you watch Young Rock? It was freaking brilliant. The way that they wrote that and executed it, it was amazing. Like, I loved it.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my to-do list.
Oh, please do. There's some wrestling stuff. Like, it's amazing. And the way they tell the story, I've never seen it done like the way they did it. I'm not going to screw it up for everybody. Watch it. Just watch it. NBC On Demand. I'm sure it's there. Just, you know, watch the replay when it comes on. But this would, I mean, I would love to see Roman Reigns and Rocky. Like, it would be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Who is the head of the table? Like you've talked about, Booch. Like, who is the head? I mean, is it Roman Reigns? This would be a great opportunity for Rock to kind of pass the torch over to Roman Reigns right now. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? It really depends on who Edge selects. We don't know. I mean, right now, it makes sense that it would be Roman Reigns. I mean, depending on what happens as we, you know, talk about Elimination Chamber here.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre may not be champion after Sunday. I don't know. And it may not even it's not going to require a number one contender match like it will for Roman Reigns, who was saved by the legal acumen of Paul Heyman. Again, special counsel Paul Heyman saving the day for his client, Roman Reigns, kind of saving him from having to fight twice in one night.
Exactly, yeah.
So, I don't know. I would love to see Roman Reigns and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You know, it'd be great if Roman Reigns wins the match. I don't care. I just want to see The Rock in the ring. That's it. Exactly. That's it. I don't care.
I keep saying, like, it's either at this point, it can either be The Rock or Goldberg. It's one of them. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be one of them facing Roman. Whether Roman's the champ or not, I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Rock or it's going to be Goldberg.
I think it should be Rock. Like, we've seen Goldberg. I kind of feel like to bring Goldberg back that quickly it's kind of hackish. It's hackneyed. I don't know. I just wouldn't do it, but
I see your point, but you also got to take into account it is WrestleMania.
Yeah, which is why it should be The Rock.
They're pulling out. Vince McMahon always pulls out the big guns for Mania. Always. If he could have Cena on there, he would, but he can't.
I'm surprised we didn't see any bit of John Cena at the Rumble.
Well, there's a reason for that. Right. He was on the Tonight Show a few days before the Super Bowl, and he is actually in Vancouver, and he is filming a TV show for HBO Max based on his Suicide character, Peacemaker. He was actually on the Tonight Show via satellite, or via Zoom, or however they do it, dressed in his Peacemaker costume on the Peacemaker set to kind of give Jimmy Fallon a sneak peek, because he plays Peacemaker in the upcoming Suicide Squad movie.
Okay. I've never seen any of them. I don't know. Are they
I
good?
haven't either. I haven't seen the original because I heard how terrible it was.
I heard the exact opposite. People were like, "I love Suicide Squad." It just
It,
sounds kind of dark, but
the
I'm
movie
sure it's
was
like a.
bad. It was like the only people remember from that is Harley Quinn. Will Smith was Deadshot or Killshot or whatever it's called, and Jared Leto played the worst Joker ever created in the history of
Um,
Joker.
Jared Leto's a weirdo, dude. I
Oh
watched
God,
him on with who's the guy on like Saturday mornings? The really like docile NBC guy. Anyway, he was on and they did a feature on Jared Leto, and I was just watching him. I was like, dude, do you have life in your eyes? Like it was just emptiness as I looked at him talking about all of his roles and his upcoming work. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like it just goes to show like how famous and rich you can be and still be like empty inside. It
yeah,
was crazy. But
totally, dude.
yeah, oh yeah. Favorite Joker of all time has to be probably Ledger.
I had for me. It's if I have to go with based on the Batman series, I gotta go with Jack Nicholson.
Hmm.
But I'm not gonna lie, Joaquin Phoenix is amazing as the Joker.
Yeah, he's a good one too.
Love
Yep.
it. Loved what he did. Loved what he did.
It'd
But
be great to
anyway,
see a female Joker, wouldn't it? Eventually.
maybe. Well, we got Harley Quinn. That's close. She's kind of the female version of the Joker.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
But so yeah, so the original Suicide Squad didn't do well. Is why they're trying to reboot it. And John Cena's in there as Peacemaker. So they decided to put it on a TV show on HBO Max. He's filming that right now. So if he was to come to WrestleMania, he would have to quarantine and then go to Mania.
Mm,
Then he would have to. Then when he went back to Canada, he have to quarantine for another 2 weeks, and that would shut production down. So because of the international restrictions, he won't be at WrestleMania.
that's a bummer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big bummer because I'd love to see him at Mania.
I do too. See who he would face.
Let's talk about the Elimination Chamber coming up
All right.
this Sunday. As we conclude the show, 'cause it's getting late. I'm tired.
I hear you.
Let's get to it, man. Let's kind of give a little backstory. All right. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the match starts with two superstars in the ring and then four people in their individual pods, right?
Yes.
And then every 5 minutes, a pod door opens and another competitor joins the contest. And so the match continues until all the pods are empty. And so when a superstar is pinned or they submit, that superstar is eliminated and must leave the chamber. And so the last superstar remaining will challenge said champion. In this case, we could talk about Raw first, we can go SmackDown, whatever, but it would be the head of the table, talk about Roman Reigns. So he doesn't have to fight in this match like Drew McIntyre does. This is going to be a really, really fun match. I love the idea of Kevin Owens getting another shot here. But who do you think is going to win the opportunity to face Roman Reigns? Is it going to be Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Uso, Sami Zayn, or King Corbin?
Well, before I give my answer, I'm going to say this. I'm glad that you're looking forward to this match. Because I'm not. And the reason I'm not is because, first of all, if you're not going to put the, first of all, I think that there should be at least, there's a men's Elimination Chamber match. The women should have at least one. Give the men one, give the women one, and that's it. We don't need anything else. The guys don't need two chambers, and we don't need a number one contenders match for the winner to face the champion later that night. So that tells me one of two things. Either A, this is opening the show, or B, they're going to give Roman a quick win because the guy's like half dead. So I don't know how this is going to work, but based on how the storylines are going and everything else, I see two possibilities. Jey Uso wins or Kevin Owens. Corbin ain't happening. Sami Zayn ain't happening. Cesaro, wishful thinking, it ain't happening. Daniel Bryan, he ain't getting, if he's going to win the title, it ain't going to be here. So I'm going to really think about this, and I don't like it, but I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens.
I mean, it makes sense, especially after the botch job. I feel like they need a third match to kind of, settle the score as of late. Um, we got to find a way for me to get this championship back. So I'm looking at these competitors, Booch, and I think Kevin Owen makes a lot of sense. But as I kind of do some deduction here, I look at Daniel Bryan, be a great opportunity for him. Cesaro, it's not going to happen. I love him, pound for pound, the strongest man, Swiss Superman, but not in this case. Jey Uso, be interesting, but let's be honest, it's not going to happen. I could kind of see Sami Zayn then pulling the trigger on him. But I'm going to go with Kevin Owens as well. I think it makes the most sense.
All right.
Yep, I know. I know you hate that move, but it's just the way it's going to be. Maybe we'll find a point of differentiation here. Let's talk about it, man. Drew McIntyre is going to have to defend it. I mean, this is going to be a career-altering match, and he's got to face the likes of Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Sheamus. A Sheamus that, don't sleep on this guy, man. Sheamus has got a little bit of love, too. I think he's the last to enter, so he's going to have fresh legs. You got to wonder, I mean, they write that into the storyline. Is this going to make Sheamus a more viable competitor, or are they throwing us off the scent here, Booch?
Well, if Sheamus does win this chamber match, I have a feeling Drew's going to revoke his rematch clause. I strongly believe that Drew and Sheamus should fight at WrestleMania. And I think if Sheamus is going to win the title, Mania is where he should do it. But it could happen here. Randy Orton, that ain't happening. I guarantee you, with what's going on with Alexa Bliss and The Fiend possibly coming back, there's no scenario where Randy Orton walks out of this chamber with the title. Kofi, he's there to put on a good match. And so the Miz can create the illusion of, I'm going to cash my briefcase in. God, I wish they take that briefcase away, man. But anyway, and then we got Jeff Hardy. He is there to jump off the pods. That's all he's there for. He ain't winning no title. AJ Styles, love him, but nah. So I say Drew McIntyre retains, but I do believe that WrestleMania is where he will drop it to Sheamus. But I say Drew for the chamber.
I'm going to go really fringe here. And I'm going to say Sheamus wins this match.
Okay.
So there we have it. There's one of the matches that we could talk about. Go ahead, introduce the other ones that you want to get to. I know you got some shade to throw.
Oh, I got plenty of shade to throw. Oh, but this next match, I'm gonna make it dark. We got for the United States Championship, we got Bobby Lashley with MVP, who apparently is injured now. Taking on Keith Lee and taking on Douche Riddle.
Wait. Douche Riddle, I think his name is Matt Riddle. He's the original bro. Sorry, it's probably a Zoom thing. Sometimes the words sound different than the way they were said.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Hashtag disrespectful, hashtag burnout. But anyway, so I look at this match and it scares me. It frightens me. It gives me nightmares because there's a strong part of me that thinks Riddle could walk out with this title. And thank God I'm not streaming this because I would violate all the guidelines on Twitch if that happened. But just go down the list, all of them. Keith Lee, I would love to see him win it. I think this is a good moment to push Keith Lee. I like Bobby Lashley, but I got a strong feeling he ain't. Every fiber of my being is telling me he is not walking out with the title. I feel like they're going to take this belt off of him. The question is, which one of these guys is going to take it? I'm feeling lucky. I'm going to roll the dice. Keith Lee's going to take it.
Oh, Man. Man, oh man. I kind of agree with you. I want to take the original bro because I think Matt Riddle is really good. I know you hate him. What if he wore shoes? If he wore shoes, you'd probably think differently, wouldn't you, Booch?
No, not really. That would just be one. That's like, that's like putting a band-aid on a shark bite. That ain't gonna fully heal it. So it's no, like there's a lot of reasons why I don't. This is the thing. This is a guy who can't make it in WWE, who has a hard time making it in WWE because he's too busy clout chasing. I don't respect that. Okay. You're trying to antagonize a legend who's never going to get in the ring with you, and I promise you is never going to job for you. You're trying to get attention. You're trying to get everybody to like you by bashing a legend in the business when he's up here and you're down here. That man has main evented pay-per-views. You were an NXT tag team champion. You haven't even won a singles title yet. And you want to talk shit and clout chase. Like if he spent less time drooling over Goldberg and more time actually learning how to work, I'd probably respect him. But no, he can go to hell. Sorry.
Well, no, it's cool. And I mean, the prediction makes sense. I mean, Keith Lee's beaten the original bro. So there's that history. But you also have the history of Lashley kind of taking over and beating both these dudes up. So I don't know, man. This is an interesting thing for me. I kind of agree with you that it's going to be Keith Lee, but for the sake of a good show and for the sake of me winning this championship prediction belt back, I'm going to take the original bro, man.
For sure.
Riddle.
All right.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Oh, and the only other match that leads with two more matches. We got. Okay, here's the thing though. The Raw Women's title's still up here. This is the thing we need to talk about. Because we got Asuka still. They're still advertising Asuka versus Lacey Evans. I even checked WWE.com. This is still on the list. And she just said she's pregnant. What? So.
Listen, there are a lot of errors.
What do we do?
There are a lot of errors on the WWE site. Like, whoever is the copywriter, there are so many grammatical errors on the preview for Elimination Chamber. Like, case in point.
Are they going to replace Lacey Evans? Are they going to, I mean, she can't, if she's pregnant, she can't wrestle. Like, this is, even if she's kayfabe pregnant, she still can't wrestle, but she's shoot pregnant. She's legit for a shoot. She's pregnant. They're just kayfabing that it's Ric Flair's. That's the only part of this that's scripted, is the fact that she hooked up with the Nature Boy. She became 10,001, and now now they're trying to figure that out. So who is going to face her? Like, are they going to put Charlotte in that spot? Are they going to put somebody else there? It ain't going to be Bianca because she has to wait till Mania to make that call. So does the match get canceled? Like, what audible are they going to call here? And if they do, so it's going to be, I don't know. Like, so my question to you, Wenz, is this: should we be making this? Both Riddle and Lee are seeking their first championship break since arriving on the red brand, and will have their hands full against Lashley. Will the Almighty be able to fend off both Lee and Riddle when they share the ring? Lashley was supposed to be official Adam Pearce of the decision. What am I looking at here? Oh, enterprising upstarts. After hearing he'd have to take on oh yeah, that's yeah.
And here's the thing, dude, Grammarly, man. Grammarly, it's $10 a month. WWE, like, who's writing your stuff?
Did they rehire Russo?
I think they hired Asuka as a copywriter. It's gibberish, man. I'm just saying, like, and we all make mistakes. We're all people, and I'll make many more tomorrow. But I just feel like if you're the creme de la creme, if you're the echelon of sports entertainment, like you got to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And this
Who's
is
the
just
supervisor?
example of not putting the correct cover sheet on the TPS report. That's all I'm going to say about it. It just goes to show that it's about details, Booch. It's about details.
It is.
But yeah, I think we're in agreement about Keith Lee, but for the sake of a good fight, I'm going to take the original bro there. What other matches we got at Chamber, man?
Well, we've been talking before about this women's title match. Here's the question I need to ask.
Okay.
I'm going to throw to you. Usually in these situations, we've had situations where we've done these predictions. But then a few days later, new matches get added, and I'll sometimes text you, and then we'll make a decision, and then I tweet it out to let people know, hey, this is where we stand. Do we want to wait and see who replaces Lacey Evans before we make a call? Like, or do we just pick Asuka, assuming she's gonna win, and move on from this? So that's the only option we got. We either we both
her. Yeah.
Okay. So we're just both gonna pick Asuka because at least we know she's there.
Yep.
We'll just do that.
Yep.
Because this is kind of like we don't have a choice here because we don't know what Lacey Evans is gonna do because she ain't wrestling, you know.
Or they could just, I mean, yeah, you're right, but they could. There's so many things they could do. They could have Ric Flair interfere and she could roll somebody up quickly. Like, we don't know, because right now, I mean, Ric Flair is on the storyline as her beau.
Yeah,
he could really interfere or cause some distraction enough for her to just get a quick win. So, but I will say, I think we should just assume that Asuka wins.
We just go with Asuka and make that click. And then we got the last match here. Roman Reigns versus whoever wins the Chamber match.
Yeah, who you got?
Because it's the Chamber, I'm gonna go with Roman because I don't think he's losing the belt at Elimination Chamber. I think he's going to Mania as the champion. So I'm gonna go with the head of the table.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
It doesn't make sense not to. I mean, he's not going to draw, even if it's Kevin Owens who wins the contender match. Like, Kevin Owens is not going to win twice in one night.
Yeah,
like,
and
they could make it believable. They could be close, but we know in our heart of hearts that Roman Reigns is walking into WrestleMania as champion.
Yes. Whether he walks out as champion is debatable, but he is not losing the belt at Elimination Chamber. It's just not happening.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, I feel like we're on the right track, Booch. And what I mean by the right track is we're on the track of me getting back my championship, which I never lost. It was stripped from me.
Yeah. No, was it?
We're running out of time. We can't discuss all these terrible misconceptions and lies. We're breaking up here. Never, ever, ever like to leave a segment with the Booch without saying a couple key things. One of which is, have a nice day.
The other is, bang, bang.